Welcome to another episode of Coffee with a Coach. I'm here with Carleton Booker, married couples, coaching couples, and Carleton helps couples heal their relationship after infidelity. So part of this new series, last time we came up with the idea that's Coffee with a Coach. So a pretty informal conversation, but we really want to learn more about Carleton, learn about this topic, and understand his journey with being a coach and helping people. So I'd like to welcome on Carleton today to the show. So welcome, Carleton. How are you today?
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, Anthony. Appreciate it, really do.
Yeah, no worries. Where are you calling from?
Calling from Oakland. I'm in Oakland today. I'm in Oakland. I'm in Oakland in a workstation. So
okay.
The Bay Area. As you see, Warriors. You see that, right? Warriors. Just want to make sure.
They're doing pretty good this year, huh?
That's right. That's right.
They were supposed to play Phoenix, and I saw that
Phoenix tonight. They're playing Phoenix tonight, but
first game or second game?
Second game. They got beat up. Curry only had like 2 for 12. But we'll see. That won't happen tonight. Believe me, that won't happen tonight. So.
Oh no! I spent a number of about a year and a half traveling up to the Bay Area, working at a property up there. So.
Yeah, unique. I'm born and raised here. Unique. It's a unique area culturally. I went to school in Southern California, but it's definitely a unique area. I love it. It's a great place to live. Expensive, but it's a great place to live. I wouldn't live in any other place, really, the Bay Area. It's a great place to live.
Yeah, I was in Eastridge, so on the east side of San Jose and all that.
Yeah.
So that area is pretty diverse with Vietnamese, Filipinos. It was because I was the marketing director for the mall and running events and doing all that. So a TED festival, we had we have all these different cultural festivals that we helped with the local community. So it was fun. Well, cool. Tell me a little bit, tell the audience, everybody, what you do, and how you got into it and all that.
Well, just kind of a bit of background. Been married for over 44 years. Been helping couples, married couples for almost 25 years, almost 20, 30 years. We're doing it in ministry and in business. We help couples deal with, really forgiveness, and the biggest focus is on infidelity. And I can just tell you this, that, I have background in infidelity because it happened in my marriage, and I was the one that stepped out of our marriage. And so some 20-some years ago, and we're now married 44 years now. So I thank God my wife didn't divorce me, but, it was hard times. And, sometimes, the things that we run through, the misery sometimes become our mission and our ministry. And so I just felt that, if we can get through it, you can get through it. And I know it's sometimes, society thinks that, it's the worst thing that can ever happen. And, it's hard. But with the help and the right tools, you can survive it and you can become better after it. And I know people, look, I tell people all the time, we've had people get divorced because somebody, had the toilet paper wrong in the bathroom. Just so crazy stuff that people want to split up and leave for. But, I believe we believe in what the vows say, for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, and to our death of living together and being together. So we specialize in that type and knowing how to go through the fear and the love and how to connect and how to forgive. And I'm not saying not to forget, and you're not going to forget, but how we can get over that forgiveness part and how we can walk you through it. And like I said, I've been through it. My wife been through it. What better two people who've been through that, who've been through those minefields of this, can walk another couple through it and how to get through it. So that's our mission. That's what we do. We help a lot of couples go through it. I know people say, man, that's crazy. Well, why would you help people that? Because people are going through it. There's a need for it. And our phone is currently calling. Our phone is currently ringing off the hook, calling, from our website, organically. I'm not even advertising anything right now. And people are calling us because they need the help. And, I have men calling me who are crying over the phone, literally crying over the phone. And we're booked solid. And I told my wife, if we gotta talk to this person at 1 o'clock at night, we're gonna help this person. We're gonna help this person because I don't want to go through the pain that me and my wife been through. And it's not good. And we didn't have anybody that helped us go through what we went through. We literally went through ourselves. And so we felt that this is a need, and we're reaching out to couples. Now, people might feel like they're embarrassed about it. I mean, yes, it's nothing to, shout the rooftop that you stepped out of your marriage. I understand that, but there's a lesson in learning what is wrong, what happened, what caused it, what is the root cause of it, and how do we deal with it? That's it.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that I was thinking as you're talking about, like, the event and doing that isn't really the reason, right? Or
No.
is it there's a cause behind it?
Yeah, it's just a symptom. It's just a symptom of the root of the problem, and we have to find out what that root is. My thing was that it was a lot of stuff during my childhood and things like that. When I didn't know that till we really kind of got into really what is my issue that I'm having.
Yeah. So, like, did you search out counselors? Like, what was your path after that? Was it,
I'll be honest with you, Coach. I mean, as African Americans, we are the last people to go to counseling and deal with mental health. We just don't do that as culturally. We just, for some reason, we can't, either we don't want to tell our business, or two, I'm not relatable to you, or you're not relatable to what we're talking about or what we've been through. So we don't do that. But so I'll be honest with you, it was just our faith in God that brought us through this, that got us on the right path of where we, what was going on, and that healed us and got us together, that can continue together now. The sad thing is that, I was one of those persons that said, no, I'm not going to counseling. I mean, I'm not going to counseling. And so I know that, and that's just what it is. And, so we're really trying to push that type of, and I'll be honest with you, 90% of my clients are African American.
Yeah.
Right now, 90% of them. And so, and everyone said they called us because we're relatable and they feel comfortable with us. So, and so if I can help them do that, and I can help them with that part of their marriage, that's a win-win for me. That's a win-win. That at least they're reaching out, and I salute them when if they're calling me, I'm saluting them that they're reaching out, because normally they would not be reaching out. Normally they just go through the problem, or they're being divorce court, or something else. They're breaking up the family. So
what are you seeing? Like, I'm assuming majority of the people, the person in the relationship cheating is the man. Is that correct?
That's not always true. You got it's like 40% of women and about 67% of men.
Okay, so it's not that far off. It's not like a massive difference, 20%. So what do you find that with the men is like a common core issue with them? That kind of
insanity.
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 Yeah.
Most of it is that they feel that there's one, that they don't feel like they're getting attention. Two, they feel like it's a one night thing, and it's never really emotional, in the sense that they're looking for one thing and one thing only. But every one of them, feels so remorseful after it's done, and so feels so bad about it when it's done. But the fact was that it's been done. The damage has been done, and you find out that, I'm gonna be honest with you, when you ask this question, why did you do it? And because, whoever's on the side, if you're, like my wife, when she asked me that question, I couldn't even answer the question. I couldn't even answer her question. When she asked me, why did I do it? I couldn't literally answer her question.
Yeah.
And when I talk to a lot of men in this counseling, they have the same way. They cannot answer this question. Why did you do it? And they can't answer it. And so, so when you go back and you think about, well, was it you're out of control, or was it just spontaneous? What is it? And so these are the things that we're talking about. These are things that, these are rooted, these are symptoms of something deeper than what we see. And so, for me, I finally got the answer to it. But, the number one question is, why did you do what you do? And it's tough because a lot of guys really don't know why they did it.
Yeah. I mean, like, I go back to, when I was a kid, younger, right? In my early 20s, having long-term girlfriends and stuff. And there was one relationship there I was, completely idiot in it. You know what I mean? And I know for myself, cheating and doing all this other stuff, I know that like I had the previous relationship had a bad experience where, it was like questionable if it happened or not. Didn't really know. Actually ended up getting arrested for a situation, all that stuff, and then, when I was in this other relationship, like I was completely different, right? Like more controlling, more of that, because usually it's just not my nature. I'm not going to control people, right? Generally, and then, there's I can understand like, if there's a sense of like, it feeds your ego, right? Where like women, most women doesn't feed their ego, like, doing so, having some other, we're really guys that can be really, really driven by ego. So they can feed your ego, backfill, falsely cover up insecurities, you know what I mean? Like, things like that. So it is an element to that. And, I don't know how early you guys got married.
18.
I mean, so you're young, like
18.
I mean, like, on the outside, you're a man, but, it doesn't matter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I've talked about this with my wife about waiting because we didn't get married until it was 2013. So we were like 31.
Yeah. I mean, I had, I had kids at that point in time. I mean, I got kids older than that right now. So, it was a difficult time in our life. We struggled for a long time. And my wife was just a faithful woman that she just believed that, she saw the better, she saw things better. She saw something that was greater in me that I didn't see. And, to the point of, we're pastors, we're both pastors. We both minister, we're both pastors. And, sometimes, I grew up in a home with domestic violence. I mean, I grew up with a single mom who was trying to work, and trying to take care of 5 kids in the family. And, she used to date a lot. And I mean, we had literally the cops at our house on a daily basis, every day. I mean, I at one point in time, I wanted to go to become a cop because I felt like they were like the saviors. I mean, they were like the great people of the world because that's all we used to see coming to the house. And so I relate that to even my upbringing and how I related to my marriage. And the one thing that was really what struggled was that everybody in my family had a chick on the side. My father had a chick on the side. My uncle had a chick on the side. My grandfather had a chick on the side. My uncles had a chick on the side. So I grew up in this environment where this is all I seen. It was a point where, if you take home the money, you pay the bills, you're doing great. You're being a provider, but you gotta have a chick on the side. And so it was a thing in the whole family that was doing this. I mean, it was literally like it's rampant. And so, we had to come down to the point where we just got to stop this. And it was generational. to the point where, okay, this is where this generation is going to stop, and I'm not going to go this way, because I mean, when that's not how God intended marriage to be, but no one told me that, because I've always seen that. I'm only looking at what I'm seeing, and so and we can have generational curses. Now I consider that a generational curse in our family, that it was going on for so long that we kept on doing it. So
yeah, no, I mean, my mom told me all the stories of not her dad, but because my dad's side of the family is from New York, and a couple generations removed from Italy. So, like a couple years ago, so I knew growing up that my grandfather always had, like, that was the culture, right? I mean,
yep.
they were, I think, we don't really know what he was involved with. He took it to his grave, but he was surrounded by that life, and that's how that life was, right? You had a girlfriend, you paid for the apartment, you did all that stuff like that. My grandfather on the West Coast in that area is what he did,
Mm-hmm.
So my aunt and uncle started, because my dad passed 20 years ago, it'll be 20 years in January, but about 4 or 5 years ago, they started doing the ancestry thing, and they ended up finding some. They had a half brother in Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
And the crazy thing is that my mom always said that, that there possibly was somebody, at that point. So and it's an interesting time in, I guess, if you want to say, the evolution of humans, right? Where, we're in this, where this is this is a very popular and accepted conversation, right? Of men dealing with feelings, and, the old way of, handling a household, and, even the how rampant domestic violence used to probably be, versus, I would assume that in totality of percentage, it's not as like acceptable, right? Because, like, I know that with my dad's family, it's like, oh, don't leave, that's not your stuff, that's not your problem, right? You kind of mind your own business, right? If there's any problems at home like that,
right?
And so it's an interesting time where, I know some of the emotional stuff goes way too far. We coddle people way too much, but I think there's a good group in the middle that are very awake to the balance between the two.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things is that, I was telling, we talked to a lot of couples, is how we express our feelings and how we get down to the deeper part of our heart. So if you're raised to be quiet, go to your room, don't say nothing, don't express your feelings. So now you get married, and now your wife wants to know your heart, express your feelings. I don't know how to do that. I mean, because I've been traditionally shown to be quiet, don't say nothing, blah, 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 blah. And so now we have difficult as men how to share this heart, how to share the deeper part of our heart. Why? Because we're fearful, because we don't want to share. We're fearful because we might, somebody might step on our heart, and we're done. And so what our goal is to break down these emotional walls, to really get in the deeper part of who we are, and understand the things that you've been through, and how we can break through those things, like fear and areas of our life, and pain in the areas of our life, that we can move past that. Because I always tell people, pain and fear does not go together with love. It does not. They cannot coexist. They cannot coexist. And so when we deal with that, we're dealing with a lot of couples who are dealing with pain and fear. And, and here you're trying to say that you love me, but I'm still dealing with the pain and fear. So it's like oil and water. It does not connect. And so we have a lot of those issues that we're dealing with in our personal life that we need to deal with personally. And so it's really understanding that, what was the problem? How do I deal with it? Where did it come from? And how do I change that behavior? So.
Yeah. So, like, with the women, if just because these are good conversations that even young men or married men that are married now, like understanding first, what is the general cause that you kind of see with the men? What's the cause that you kind of see when women step out? Like, what is their answer?
Well, I have an awesome wife who does, we both partner together. We both coach together, and she is awesome. I tell people that I told her she's a superstar. My wife, most of the women that step out of their marriage is because of lack of somewhat of attention. You understand that women are created to connect. They're created to connect. And so when you get someone that they're not giving the emotional connection at home, they're not feeling the attention, they don't feel like they're safe. You find these women are going somewhere else to find that connection. And so, it's not that they want to have a relationship, it's that they find themselves somewhere saying, hey, I'm here for you, I'm supporting you, you're safe with me. And then it kind of goes to another level with it. But most women wants to connect. A lot of that, well, all women, they're created to connect. And so when you got someone who, is not getting that connection at home, they normally send them to go somewhere else and trying to get it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. That's what I would assume is being heard, quality time with with that person, and and all that. So, like, what do you see like is the first step of like, coaches? They come to you. These guys are crying. They're emotional about what the situation is. Like, what's the first step that they need to do? Like that you help them out with. Like, what is?
Well, the first thing is
be honest. What does the process look like?
Yeah. First, let's be honest. Whatever you're done is done. Let's just be honest. The second thing is, do not tell your mate to get over it. I find men thinking that, especially as men, we can say that. I can say that to you, coach, and say, we had a beef. I say, man, just get over it. And you can get over it. You can get over it. But the women cannot get over that. They're not going to get over that. And so don't neglect the issue that you've been through just to say, I get over it. No, you're not talking to a man, you're talking to a woman, and they're not going to get over it. And I make this analogy is that when you have the checkbook and you blow the checkbook and you got checks bouncing all around town, don't expect to get the checkbook tomorrow. It might be a while till you get that checkbook good in. So it's going to take time it's going to take time to build that trust factor again, to allow you to be, in that area of talking and be trustworthy. I mean, I'll tell you a story when I was doing my dirt and being out in the street. This is before we had, phones or GPS. When I stepped out and me and my wife was getting back together, I used to get on the phone and just tell her, hey, I'm getting off work now. I'm making a left on Main Street. I'm going down the street. I mean, I used to tell her, what did I do? I became transparent to the point of I need to be transparent in every area of my life. And sometimes these are one thing I tell a lot of the men is like, okay, you got to do whatever it takes. If it means giving your wife your phone, clear all the password, give your worst password, everything must be on the table. Now, if you don't want to do that, if you still want to hold on to everything, you want to hold on to this, you're not ready for this commitment. You're not ready to restore this marriage. You're absolutely not ready. So I take them down the path of it because, I tell people, you can't snow the snowman. You cannot snow the snowman. I'm the snowman. I've been where you've been. And so there's no game playing with me because I've been where you've been. And if you're trying to hold on to anything, this is not going to work. You got to be transparent, and you got to be truthful, and you got to expose your life now to her to show you that you're worthy of being trustworthy.
Yeah, really rebuilding that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you how do you work? Is it groups? Is it one-on-one? How do you do that?
We're currently working on one-on-ones. Me and my wife, we both get on a call and we allow them to talk. We go through we have a book that we work through, and we kind of work through the book. And most of it is going dealing with this connection and communication and fear and pain and working with that. And then we allow them to, do during the week, we allow them to do a 20-minute call, called a quick call, marriage quick call, where they can call my wife, or the woman calls my wife and the man calls me, where they can share their things or deal with the things that they're going through that week with us one-on-one. And so it allows us to, so the things that you might want to not to share with your wife on the Zoom call, you can then share with us individually, and then we'll come together on the call and discuss it.
Yeah. So what do you usually see, like when couples commit to the process, go through the program, like what do you see as they go through? Like what changes with them? Like, I mean, like, obviously they come to you in a traumatic state, but like, tell us about that transformation that they have.
Well, it starts off, I call it the Crips and Blood stage, where they just hate each other.
Lord.
They can't be in a room together, so we try to just kind of easily come together. And I told the guys, give her some time, give her some space, don't push the issue. I mean, if it's don't push the issue in anything. And a lot of guys, we have to. There's a lot of guys trying to, complain about, when this is us. It's not your show no more. It's not your show no more. And so
Yeah.
we try to do is let's get the communication together. Let's start with just communicating. And then we'll start building that on the communication, and then building trust and doing things. And now, look, they have bad days sometimes? Yes, they have bad days. Things trigger, we got triggers going on. You go in the room, you get a phone, you go outside to take a phone call. Those are triggers that, now your spouse is up, thinking that, what's going on. And so we try to tell them, do things in open, be exposed, be transparent, and start working on small things. As we get, the thing is, I tell people this: don't concern about the outcome. Just go through the process. It's not about the outcome. It's about going through the process. And the process may take a year. It may take 6 months. It might take 2 years. It took my wife 3 years. So we got through it. And I tell people, you're going to be better for it. You're going to have a stronger marriage by going through it, because why? You guys are doing it together. And the one thing you got to be is you got to be committed. My wife was committed, and I can't commit it. If you got two people that's committed, you guys can get through it. Guarantee you guys can get through it and be committed.
How did you, like, you say 3 years, right? Like, what was the thing where it was like, okay, obviously she had her own timeline. Every couple has their own timeline, but what was that point at which she was like, okay, that was the point which everything I knew, or whatever, you know what I mean? Like you said 3 years, like what was that point? What does that look like? What did that look like for your wife? What does that look like for other couples? Like when they can kind of, not, obviously you can never 100% put it behind you, but it's enough behind you that you're healed and you're moving forward and all that.
Well, you become a different person. And, I had a hard time sharing things with my wife and hiding things and doing all these kind of things like that. I became transparent in my life. That I have no secrets in my life. And if I'm, if I got something that bothers me, I can go to my wife and talk to my wife about those things. And sometimes we become distant. I call, sometimes there's a lot of couples I call, or 2 ships in the night, who are just going through, just going through. And then once in a while they dock. And, we see couples like that all the time. We must be committed to keeping the connection regardless of what goes on in our marriage, regardless. And I'm talking about infidelity too. And so if we're committed to keeping the connection, it doesn't matter what we go through. We're always going to keep the connection. Look, 2008, we lost our daughter at 26 with breast cancer, 26. And that's probably was the hardest thing me and my wife been through. The hardest thing we went through is losing our daughter at 26 of breast cancer. And during this time, my daughter, who used to work for me, knew that her dad was not faithful to her mother. And she was mad at me. She was mad at her dad. And she was mad at her mom too for staying together. And so we have to restore all those we have to restore all these relationships that we destroyed. You know, I destroyed these relationships, and people were angry at me and things like that. And I did restore that relationship. And you know, we never know in our life what will happen and what goes on. But you know, my daughter, her last words when she passed was, "I love you." Now, it could be another word where she said, you know, "I hated you," or whatever, because of the hurts that she'd been through, that I put her through by seeing her mom and dad go through the things that we've been through. And so we don't know how these things affect our family until we see them, and they do affect our family. And maybe that's one of probably our biggest passion, that what us two married couples who have families, who have kids, affects the kids. And like I said, I came from a divorced family, and you know, I used to say, well, you know, I'm good. I'm good. You know, I'm tough, and you know, I can make through it. I can deal with things, but you know, really emotionally, I was not ready. Emotionally, I was that 12-year-old kid, you know, trying to fight a man who was trying to fight my mother, who was trying to beat her mother up. You know, and so that affected me. And so, and then, you know, here I am doing the same thing to my daughter, but I restored that love back. I restored that connection to my daughter. And that's important to me. And that's important to getting these couples together. Understand there's a bigger picture to just us, because the two of us, we're selfish people. We're selfish people by nature. We're selfish people. And so we have to understand that we cannot be considered being selfish. And I tell people all the time, marriage is for mature adults. It's not for kids. It's for mature adults.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have to learn how to have a PhD in forgiveness. A PhD in forgiveness. You have to learn that in your marriage. And so if you continue on doing that, you will have a solid ground of staying together. But we don't want to forgive. We have to forgive. We have to. So.
Cool. So, what are some of the success stories that you've helped with couples? Like,
So we had a great couple. My wife went downtown to was taking somebody to court, and we saw two couples. We saw both two couples that we used to counsel were in the court filing for divorce papers. So my wife said, "Hey, get out of that line. Get out of that line and come here." And she gets them and say, "Hey, you guys call us tonight, and we need to talk. This is not going to happen. We're not going to tolerate that. You guys you're filing for divorce." So my wife called and we contacted them, and we start coaching them, and within 2 to 6 months, between 3 to 4 months, and today this couple is still married today and got another child. And
wow.
So that's a great success story, because they're still married today. Now, they were in line to file for divorce.
Yeah.
This so happened, my wife was at the courthouse and told them to get out of line. I mean,
yeah.
Sometimes you need people just to fight for things, and that's what my wife said. That's what we do. We tell people, if you don't fight for it, we'll fight for you. And sometimes you need people to like that, and that's how we are. We'll fight for you, But it was the best thing that ever happened to them, and they tell us that all the time. Now we're the grandpas and the grandparents of their kids. But that's how they treat us. They treat us like they both don't have mothers and fathers, so we become their surrogate mothers and fathers.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting that, the structural dynamic of society now is starting to not lend itself to that family, like bigger extended family union,
Right.
you know?
Right.
So you can kind of see how I was even thinking as you're talking is like, it was like urbanization and suburbanization really like going away from that, where you had your mini little tribe as your family, extended
Right.
family, and that,
Right.
and that stayed together. And, I wonder how much that those dynamics are really
Yeah.
affecting, life and stuff. And,
And I think one of the biggest issues we talk about couples is, I call it, don't have a dinosaur marriage. And what I mean by dinosaurs is, what happened to dinosaurs? They all died, right? And so what we have to become as couples, that we have to evolve. We have to continue on evolving. And so, I'm not the same person at 18 I am 25, and I'm not the same person at 25 at 35. I'm not the same. You see, we have to continue on evolving, and you find so many couples who come to us saying, "I'm not in love with him anymore. I fell out of love. I don't love her no more." What happened? What happened? Because you find married couples who are not evolving together. And so it's really important that you're learning, you're working together, you're evolving together. This is a team. And, if you don't, if one is behind, you help each other. We're both help me. And we find a lot of couples like that who are I call them dinosaur marriages. They're just dying. They're just dying because they're not evolving. They're not learning. They're still acting like they're 18 or 25. That's like I tell couples all the time, grow up. We're talking about couples who are 20 years in marriage, talking about stuff that the newlywed couple would be talking about, dealing with. I mean, like, you guys are way past that, way past that. But why are we dealing with that right now? Because we hadn't evolved. We're evolving in this marriage.
Yeah, it seems like they need to, like, it doesn't matter how old you get, if you don't get past that phase and kind of deal with those situations, they never go away.
No.
So, and grow in those situations. So
we have to be growing. We have to be growing. And so we're big into educating married couples. We're looking to do a workshop, seminar, a conference, and these are things. These are things that we want to talk about. This is not going to be like a fluff rainbow type of conference where you hear all you want to hear is the good stuff. No, we want to get into the meat of the stuff. We want to hear the meat of the rainbow. This is not kumbaya. We want to get into the core of marriage.
Yeah. Well, very cool. I know you got a Facebook group. What's the name of your Facebook group?
It's called Infidelity, Truth to Trust.
Cool. And then I know you get a lot of traffic to your website, and that's, what are some other ways to get a hold of you?
On the website, you go to the website, there's an 800, we got an 877 number that goes directly to our office, and we pick up, it goes directly to our office, and we always pick up. You can go on Facebook, you can DM me on Facebook. And the best place to go, you go on Yelp. I'm on Yelp too. You can go to Yelp, and just DM me on the group. Any of that group, I'll contact you.
Yeah, and then you got a freebie, right? You got like a little download. What's that?
I have a download where it's 10 things regarding trust in your marriage, and it's a great steps on how to learn how to trust and forgive. And I think everyone needs that, because we're always going to deal with it. Even if you're not even dealing with infidelity, it could be just that, you might be having issues with trust. It's a great tool to look at and see that can help you in your marriage.
Cool. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for being on. Have a little.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it. Thank you for your time. I'm so supportive, and I appreciate it, man. I really do.
Yeah. No worries, man.
Okay.
All right, brother. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.